So guys, I just want to address today, so you have understanding, because the best way you can learn jiu-jitsu, submission wrestling, whatever you're doing, is to have the correct mindset program for your learning experience. Okay. So I want you to understand that we serve two types of people here in any martial arts school related to grappling. Okay. You serve the person that is doing this recreationally, because that person is interested in learning the art for self-defense, get a good workout, for the lifestyle, for the fun that it is. But then later on, you also have people that they become competitors. Okay, they navigate towards becoming a pro athlete. Okay, and there are several degrees of pro athlete, but I'm talking about the work ethic of a pro athlete. Somebody that trains with the purpose of going to competition and obtaining good results. Okay, so those are two different customers that we have in every group class in our school. Okay, so and I want you to understand what does it take for both types of people to feel satisfied and learning here. Okay, and this has to do with what the pro athlete needs to do to improve. Okay, because ultimately, even if you're recreational or a hobbyist doing martial arts, you don't learn, you don't train, you don't spar to lose. You do actually to win. Okay, and what I'm about to tell you, how the pro athlete trains, you can apply to yourself even if you're doing this as a hobby. Okay. All right. So the fun part of any class here is the sparring part, the last 10-15 minutes that we spar. Okay, because you get to try and test all the moves that you have been learning. At the same time, you're doing a great workout. Okay, you walk out of here sweaty. It's good for your health, good for your mind. But every time you do a class and you spar in 10, 15, 20 minutes and you walk dripping sweat out of here, you got the feeling, oh, I worked out today. I did this was my workout today. At the same time, I learned how to break people's arm, how to choke people at school, how to escape, and that's that. Okay? For a pro athlete, and that is a great training for a normal person that is doing jiu-jitsu, wrestling, luta libre, whatever it is. Sounds good? But for a pro athlete, and here we have some teenagers here that they have over 100, 150, 200 career wins. So even though they're young, they have the work ethic and the goal as a pro athlete already. Okay? I want you to understand what they need to do to win. What do you guys need to do to improve so you can win? And whatever they have to do, all of us can do to improve our areas too. Which is basically recognizing what areas you need to improve. Okay? And pro athletes, they don't spar 10, 15 minutes in the end of every class. That's not how they do it. Okay? Gordon Ryan, he does not warm up for 15 minutes, do some drills for 30 minutes, and then do a free sparring session that starts standing, and it's like a fight with 10 people in the room for 30 minutes. That's not what these guys do. Those guys train what we call specifics strength. So it's a positional training. And it's very easy to understand why. But the people that cross this door to train and to take an hour class doesn't realize you have the idea that you only really train if you spar for 10, 15 minutes at the end of the class. And that's not what does the trick. Okay? Because think about, we have cases here of students that they won tournaments recently and they lost tournaments recently. Okay? We have Thiago here, he just walked out of here today. He did a Naga 2 days ago in expert division, which is the hardest division, which Mark won. He got first place, got the championship belt here as an orange belt. But Thiago lost one of his matches because he tried an Americana from inside the guard, which is crazy. How can a kid with 200 career wins can try to do an Americana from inside the guard against another Jiu-Jitsu expert? It doesn't work. It is we don't even teach that. Because you know, if you try to do Americana from inside, the guy's going to go around and take a back. We learned this when you're a white belt, so a teacher doesn't have to teach you that. You feel one time, you know what? I'll never do it again. That's the law of the jungle when you learn this. Okay? But he said that he forgot what he was doing, he lost track of focus, and he tried. And Jiu-Jitsu is unforgiving. There's no mercy. Thiago does this mistake against another Thiago, they keep taking his back and choke him out. Period. That's gonna happen 100 times out of 100. You know? So what's the remedy for him to come back and train? Does he need to stand up, shake hands, and start sparring for 5 minutes? No. He needs to improve his guard pass skills so he doesn't try an Americano again inside the guard of somebody. He needs to improve guard passing skills. Because who knows what was in his mind that it triggered him to do that. And I was asking, I don't know, I'm not inside you. I can only imagine that maybe you felt that the kid has an unpassable guard. Maybe you felt him stronger than you. Maybe you lost confidence in your techniques of guard passing techniques. And you came to the realization of the moment, okay, I'm not passing his guard, I'm gonna try to tap him out right here. Okay, that's a fair gambling situation. If this is what you're processing in your head, and he honestly told me, I honestly don't know, Professor, what I was thinking, I just did it. That's how you make mistakes, you pay the price. Jiu-Jitsu is a science, you know? So, he needed to train guard pass. He needed to be put inside someone's close guard so he can improve his guard passing techniques and his awareness of what needs to be done, okay? Because one should not sign up for a tournament if you don't have at least one answer for every possible situation you can be facing. Okay? Of course, we encourage beginners and white belts to go to the tournament you do with what you have right now because you want to improve. But a high-level athlete shouldn't sign up for an ADCC, for an IBJJF, PANS, Worlds, if you're not a complete athlete. Okay? So I asked one of our students today, do you know what is a reverse de la Riva? And she said, no. I said, you have never seen one and you never heard his name before? Reverse de la Riva. She said, never heard his name, Professor. Okay, so what will happen to you then if you sign up for a tournament because you had the illusion to believe you can get a gold medal, and you sign up, you paid, and you went there, and your opponent in the very first beginning of the match put a reverse de la Riva guard on you, which is an unknown thing for you. How puzzling that would be to you. Do you have the ability to recognize an unknown move and solve that problem on the spot in the middle of performance in a tournament? It's like, no. Odds are you will lose the match because you're in a position that you have never seen before. You don't know, you never trained that, you don't even know the name, you don't know the counters, you don't know the escapes, you don't know the possibilities. What are you doing in the tournament to begin with? You shouldn't be there. I'm just illustrating that is the scenario. You understand? You have to try to be as much well-rounded as possible. And you do this by building small areas of the grappling sphere of this game. Okay? So, first, you have to find out what are all the submissions that you can do and where they are. Do you know arm locks? Are the arms straight, upwards, downwards? Are you doing this maneuver with your arms, with your legs? From what position? Standing, turtle, guard, top, bottom. Can you do leg locks? Ankle, knee, you name it. All your chokes. Do you choke with your hands? Do you choke with the arms? Do you choke with your legs? So you start building a matrix of possibilities. And we are just talking about submissions here. if you're doing tournaments, you have to know the separation, that tournaments are not self-defense. If you go to do a tournament that has points, rules, time, referee, and you start the fight thinking you're in a street fight, you already lost. So you have to come to the realization that grappling is a sport. It's a combat sport. It's not self-defense. Why do I need to do a De La Riva sweep if I'm fighting you on the street and if there's a chair here, I can just grab that chair and break in your head and solve the problem. I won the fight, I'm safe. So you need to know the separation of these two things. Obviously, the sports training will train you to defend yourself someday if you have to. Of course, it's a huge advantage. You're learning how to fight with your empty hands. That's what it is. You become a weapon because of the sports training. Okay? But when you go to sports, you have to master the rules and play the game. Okay? So those are the areas you have to master isolated, which is what we call specifics. High-level athletes, they just don't shake hands and they start sparring like this. They do this rarely and just before peak performance competition in their schedules. 99% of the training is specific training. Okay, what are specific training? Half guard, for example, top and bottom. Okay, because how one of these guys lost the tournament the other day in Fort Myers because someone passed their half guard. Then the other kid got 3 points for the guard pass. End of fight, 3-0. But it was a half guard pass. What's the remedy? This athlete needs to come to the school and train what? Takedowns? No. Needs to train half guard. And now you ask yourself, at the end of this class today, if today we were doing live sparring for 5 minutes, and the fight starts standing, and you shake hands, 5 minutes count, go. How many seconds of these 5 minutes do you spend doing half guard? Guaranteed. You cannot even guarantee you're going to be experiencing half guard in a sparring match for 5 minutes. You may never even be there.
Yeah.
So how can a student lose a tournament because his half guard was passed, and I come here the next day, I shake hands and spar, and he's doing his takedowns, he does a sweep, he takes somebody back, and he wins. How good was the training? Not good at all. You need to be put in half guard for 10 minutes on the bottom, 10 minutes on the top. Experience success, experience failure. Recognize, okay, I need to build awareness. This is what I need to do from here. When you identify your strengths, your success, you build a system around it because you trust yourself. That's why in the grappling community, in the Jiu-Jitsu community, people create names, moves, and those moves carry their names. De La Riva guard. Well, the guy, his name is Ricardo De La Riva, his last name. He started doing hooks with the legs here, started sweeping everybody. So much that this type of guard became known as De La Riva guard. After his name. He built a system around the move that he liked. And that's what you have to try to pursue. Andrew here, as you can see, is already liking footlocks. Just went to a tournament last week and already hit a perfect footlock. Straight ankle, submission, gold medal, 2 gold medals. So, do you think I'm gonna come to him and say, hey man, you know what? Stop doing footlocks, you should do omoplatas now. No, of course not. Improve it. Build your leg lock game, man. Explore it. Then someday he's gonna lose somehow. Oh, I lost because of this. Okay, we need to train specifically this. And you start building so you be well-rounded. Okay? The answer of this problem that I'm telling you today is very simple with this analogy. If you need to improve half guard, you go sparring. Who guarantees you that you're going to spend at least 5 seconds in half guard in a given sparring match with anybody here? You may not have, you may spend 0 seconds. It does you no good. No good. So what I'm trying to tell you is, even though you think sparring is the best and it's the fun, it is not. Live sparring, shake hands and let's see who can take who down here. You're going to be doing your old game forever, repeatedly, over and over and over and over again. You know? How in the world would Gabriel here, black belt, adult, technical and strong, who practice escapes from the mount, the ability of remove another man from the top of him, if none of you mount him during sparring? If he truly wants, do you think any of you will mount him? Maybe you'll not even get side control. Mount? Never. How can he improve his mount defense, his mount escapes? It needs to be forced. I need to tell him, hey, no sparring today. Today you're going to lay down, everybody's going to mount you, and you deal with them. Remove every single soul that is in this room today from your mount and train your escapes. This is called specifics training. The more specifics training you do, better you become. The live sparring is just putting this puzzle together. That's what it is. Sounds good? So this week, starting today until Thursday, there is no live sparring. The last 10, 15, 20 minutes of the class will be reserved in rounds of 3, 4 minutes, whatever you guys want to do it. And you start from side control. Whoever taps the other one out, whoever scores any points first. So make an analysis of this situation, side control. Side control, top and bottom. I'm on top. If I put it in the belly, I win. If I mount, I win. If I take somebody back, I win. If I tap somebody out, I win. That's it. Simple. I'm on the bottom. How do I win? Well, first, I can't lose to begin with. Second, I need to score points, because points are easier than submission. Okay? It's easier to score a point than to tap somebody out. If I'm on the bottom side control, how do I win? Well, if I recover guard, then I have to sweep this person. Or if I reverse this person from side control, maybe I'm in their guard, I have to pass the guard. If I'm in side control, knee on the belly, mount. Take the back, scramble, take the back, whatever. Or submissions. They are available from everywhere. But this will force you to recognize and build the awareness of what's your role when you're on top and when you're on the bottom. And you're going to improve the areas that you are failing, or you don't even have skills built yet. Or when you start being successful, you recognize patterns, like Amy is going with Natalia here, and you're mounting her all the time. 3 minutes, side control game, go! You mount her 10 times. Natalia has no defense. 2 months of Jiu-Jitsu. Amy is a blue belt. Of course you're going to mount her over and over and over and over. And what's going to happen from that? I guarantee you she's going to start building defense. She's going to start making it more difficult for you to mount again. It will take 1 second longer. Then it will take 10 seconds longer. Maybe it will take you a minute one day. Until the day that you may not even mount her again. Who knows? This is the goal of specifics. And every second you improve, it's an improvement. But it's beautiful because it allows you to start recognizing patterns that you can be good at. Okay? Maybe you become this masterful, so balanced that you mount everybody, and even if people are blocking, you still can mount people. You're unstoppable, and you're going to build your game around it. Maybe it's doing arm locks, maybe it's doing foot locks. You know, this is a sport, a style, a self-defense system that has two names, or martial art. Martial, from the word war, fight, it's the technical part of inflicting injury to someone, potentially being able to kill someone. That's what we do here. You learn how to choke people, how to break bones. This is the martial aspect of the word. What is the art? Art is your individuality. How you adapt the martial moves to your reality, to your body, to your spirit, to your essence. And that's the marriage of these two is what it's called martial arts. But martial arts are not the same for anyone. You have your own martial arts, you have your martial arts, I have my martial arts, you have your martial arts. Because we are not the same. And at the end of the day, this is an art. Because it's the expression of your body utilizing these techniques. That's what it is. Specific training all week, top to bottom side control every day, and I guarantee we're going to have a great improvement, and we're going to move on to the other areas. Next week is half guard, another week is stand up, another week it could be, okay, I'm going to put my foot inside Andrew's hand. He's like just 2 seconds away from doing a foot lock on me, so he's going to train his attack, I'm going to train my defense. It can be arm here, ready for an arm bar, go! It can be De La Riva guard. Okay, you have to I have to face this De La Riva guard. You have to sweep me, I have to try to pass it. That's what it is. We're going to do this with a multitude of a variety of areas that will allow you to be well-rounded someday. Sounds good? Ready? 1, 2, let's go.